Hello friends, and welcome to Cinema Perspective. Today we're talking about a format that has completely taken over the industry, miniseries. It's the perfect cinematic experience with absolutely no fluff, no unnecessary fillers, and no endless seasons. Actually, today I've selected a top 10 list of arguably the most significant, impactful, and highly rated miniseries spanning over 3 decades. We will travel from the gloomy alleys of Gotham to the sun-drenched fields of Italy, from the surreal forests of Washington to the harsh prairies of the Wild West. And the golden rule here is absolutely no spoilers. Just the premise, the tension, and the conflict. You'll have to witness the resolution for yourselves, so get comfortable and brew some coffee. If you love quality cinema, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Let's go! Kicking off our list is a brand new project that surprised even the biggest skeptics. You probably remember Matt Reeves' 2022 film The Batman, where Gotham looked like a literal hell on earth. Well, this series picks up exactly where the movie left off. Gotham has survived a massive catastrophe, the city is partially flooded, and absolute lawlessness reigns supreme. Visually, the show perfectly preserves Reeves' signature noir aesthetic: heavy shadows, dim street lamps, and a constant suffocating feeling of despair. This is a world ruled entirely by gangsters. At the center is Oswald Cobb, better known as the Penguin. Following the death of crime boss Carmine Falcone, a massive power vacuum opens in Gotham's underworld. Oswald, always a lackey nobody took seriously, decides his time has finally come. But the throne doesn't stay empty for long. Sophia Falcone, the late boss's daughter, has just been released from Arkham Asylum and clearly has no intention of handing over the family business. This is a gripping tale of how a pawn tries to become a king through cunning and absolute ruthlessness. The most fascinating part? You look at the screen and see a scarred, deeply unpleasant man with a distinctive waddle. You know it's Colin Farrell, but your eyes refuse to believe it. Farrell's transformation into the Penguin is an incredible example of prosthetic makeup, taking 4 grueling hours every day. Audiences are thrilled by the performances of Farrell and Kristen Milioti. This isn't just a comic book adaptation, it's a genuine gangster drama in the vein of The Sopranos. While some critics feel the middle episodes sag slightly under the weight of complex schemes, if you're a fan of grim stories about bad people doing very bad things for power, this is definitely for you. From the dark streets of a fictional Gotham, let's descend to the blood-soaked sand of the arena. Coming in at number 2 is Spartacus, Gods of the Arena 2011. This prequel to Blood and Sand has a backstory worthy of its own adaptation. Following the massive success of the first season, charismatic lead actor Andy Whitfield received a devastating lymphoma diagnosis. Production halted immediately. The creators and Starz Network refused to recast, genuinely believing Andy would recover. To give him time for treatment, they shot a short 6-episode prequel. Tragically, Whitfield passed away in September 2011, making Gods of the Arena a profound tribute to him. Since Spartacus couldn't be in the prequel, the narrative shifts to the House of Batiatus. Before the Thracians' arrival, we meet a young Lentulus Batiatus and his wife, Lucretia, seeing exactly how they transformed into ruthless schemers. But the breakout star is the new gladiator, Ganachus. The exact opposite of the stoic Spartacus, Ganachus is the literal rock star of antiquity, arrogant and deeply in love with wine, women, and glory. Stylistically, the series stays true to its roots. It's basically 300 on steroids. The visual style is a graphic novel brought vividly to life, featuring hyper-exaggerated violence, slow-motion shots, and artistic fountains of CGI blood. Critics often label it a guilty pleasure due to the heavy fake blood and explicit scenes. Yet, behind this chaotic facade lies surprisingly solid dramatic writing about betrayal, thirst for recognition, and how raw ambition utterly consumes people. Fans absolutely adore this miniseries, often arguing that Ganachus is the franchise's most charismatic character. The shortened format means the plot is incredibly tight and dynamic. If you're ready for Machiavellian intrigues and sandals, this is the perfect spectacle. From ancient Roman arenas, let's fast forward to the seemingly perfect American suburbs of the 1950s. Battles are fought here too, but in kitchens and scientific laboratories. Number 3 is lessons in chemistry. Welcome to an era of picture-perfect housewives, crisp aprons, and rigidly defined gender roles. Visually, the series is absolute eye candy, featuring bright pastel colors and incredibly stylish interiors. But behind this glossy image lies the harsh reality of a patriarchal world. The main character, Elizabeth Zott, is a brilliant chemist. She is vastly smarter than her male colleagues, but is repeatedly barred from the scientific community because society dictates a woman's place is at the stove. Ironically, she does end up at the stove, on national television. Following tragic events and losing her lab job, Elizabeth is forced to host a cooking show called Supper at 6. However, she absolutely refuses to just teach women how to make soup. She transforms the kitchen into a working laboratory. Cooking is chemistry, she declares. Through her recipes, she teaches millions of housewives not only about molecular reactions, but also about deep self-worth and empowerment. The series strikes a beautiful balance between drama and inspiration, featuring a deeply touching, highly intellectual romance between Elizabeth and Calvin Evans, a fellow science-obsessed loner. Brie Larson doesn't just star in the lead role, she served as an executive producer. A food consultant carefully designed all the culinary creations so they looked appetizing while Elizabeth explained them scientifically. Based on the best-selling novel by Bonnie Garmus, the show made a few narrative changes, like reimagining the neighbor as a civil rights activist. Overall, critics and viewers heavily praised the stellar performances. It's a beautiful, life-affirming story proving a woman can be anything she wants. From domestic battles in the kitchen, we move to modern cabinet intrigues, the consequences of which were far more terrifying than any fiction. Our 4th series recounts a real-life tragedy that changed our world forever, The Looming Tower, 2018. This gripping miniseries is heavily based on Lawrence Wright's Pulitzer Prize-winning book. The subject matter is incredibly heavy, the cascading events that ultimately led to the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. You might think that knowing the ending removes the suspense, but it's the agonizing process that hooks you. The core theme is the monstrous lack of coordination and bitter rivalry between America's 2 top intelligence agencies, the FBI and the CIA. The plot primarily focuses on the FBI's I-49 squad, led by John O'Neill, pitted against their rival colleagues at the CIA. The central conflict revolves around the CIA hoarding critical intelligence about al-Qaeda, refusing to share it due to rigid bureaucratic rules, massive egos, and petty departmental games. Meanwhile, the FBI desperately tries to conduct massive investigations while effectively blindfolded. Jeff Daniels is absolutely phenomenal as John O'Neill, a real-life figure portrayed as a deeply flawed, complex man who truly grasps the sheer scale of the threat posed by bin Laden long before the rest of the world. He literally screams about the impending danger, only to hit a brick wall of bureaucratic indifference. Filmed with a gritty realism that feels almost like a documentary, this is a rare case where watching men argue in drab conference rooms is far more tense than an action movie shootout. While some former CIA officers accuse the show of bias, as a dramatic statement on the devastating cost of hubris, it is undeniably effective and completely essential viewing. From modern political tragedies, we travel back to a time where the law was a highly relative concept and justice was routinely served with a cult. But our next Western is nothing like the ones you're probably used to. Here, women are calling all the shots. Number 5 is Godless, a major project from Netflix and Steven Soderbergh. Originally written as a feature film, the story expanded into a sprawling 7-episode series, and thank God it did. The action is set in 1884 in La Belle, New Mexico, a place marked by profound tragedy. 2 years prior, a horrific mining accident claimed the lives of virtually the entire male population. Consequently, La Belle became a town entirely of widows who wear the pants, build the houses, run the businesses, and are excellent shots. It completely flips the traditional Western trope on its head, treating us to tough, formidable heroines brilliantly played by Michelle Dockery and Merritt Wever. A wounded young man named Roy Good stumbles into town, desperately running from his former mentor, the terrifying outlaw Frank Griffin. Played by Jeff Daniels, Griffin is one of the most charismatic and genuinely frightening villains in Western history, a one-armed, Bible-quoting bandit preacher who casually burns entire towns to the ground. His ruthless gang is hunting Roy down, forcing the women to hold the line and fiercely defend their home. Visually, this series is an absolute masterpiece, with spellbinding cinematography that feels like epic big-budget cinema crafted for the small screen. The pacing is deliberately slow, focusing on dialogue and slicing tension that meticulously builds up. It ultimately explodes in the final episode, with one of the most epic, chaotic shootouts ever filmed in this genre. It's a stunning, fiercely feminist Western. If in our earlier stories, science was portrayed as a tool for enlightenment, in our next entry, chemistry is weaponized into a mass destructive force aimed directly at ordinary people for corporate greed. Number 6 is Dopesick. This series bravely tackles the catastrophic opioid crisis in the US, exposing how Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family literally addicted the entire American nation to a legal form of heroin in a pill called OxyContin. The narrative structure is genuinely fascinating, told non-linearly by aggressively jumping back and forth in time from 1996 to the early 2000s. This approach allows us to grasp the full, horrifying scope of the picture, from deceitful marketing pitches claiming a less than 1% addiction rate to the utterly devastated mining towns where entire families are dying off. We diligently follow several interwoven plot lines, including prosecutors desperately trying to uncover the truth and the Sackler family, who are depicted as cold and calculating, caring only about their profit margins. But the beating, tragic heart of the series is Dr. Samuel Phoenix, phenomenally played by Michael Keaton. He's a humble rural doctor who desperately wants to help his hard-working minor patients manage their severe chronic pain. He naively trusts the pharmaceutical reps, and we watch in sheer horror as he plummets straight into the dark abyss of addiction. For Keaton, this role was deeply personal after his own nephew tragically died from a drug overdose, and you can palpably feel that raw pain in every single frame. While some critics argued the Sacklers were portrayed as cartoonishly evil, as a piece of dramatic art designed to evoke profound anger and deep empathy, Dopesick is a terrifying and highly effective cautionary tale about runaway capitalism. From a devastating American crisis, let's dramatically raise the stakes and dive into what is arguably the most massive novel in literary history, seeing exactly how the British tackled it. Coming in at number 7 is War and Peace, a lavish BBC production. I know what you're thinking. Foreigners adapting Russian classics is going to be full of stereotypes, but don't rush to judgment. This adaptation made a massive splash, and for very good reason. First of all, it is breathtakingly beautiful. Unlike many Western productions that film Russia in Budapest, this crew actually traveled to St. Petersburg, filming inside the Winter Palace and right on Palace Square. The sweeping ballrooms, intricate costumes, and military uniforms look incredibly expensive and deeply authentic. Screenwriter Andrew Davies took a very bold approach here. He deliberately toned down Tolstoy's dense philosophical musings about the oak tree and the sky of Austerlitz, and instead cranked the personal stories, sweeping romances and court intrigues all the way up to the maximum. The narrative tightly focuses on the core trio: Pierre Bezukhov, Natasha Rostova, and Andrei Bolkonsky. Pierre is played by Paul Dano, and many critics agree it is one of the most brilliant and accurate portrayals of the character ever done. Clumsy, kind-hearted, and a soul-searching mess. Lily James's take on Natasha is incredibly vibrant and airy. Naturally, the show sparked fierce controversy. Russian audiences slammed the series for liking that elusive Russian soul, arguing the characters behaved more like they belonged in a Jane Austen novel, and complained about the show's explicit nature. But for a mainstream global audience, this extremely fast-paced and deeply emotional series proved to be the absolute perfect entry ticket into Tolstoy's massive world. From the grand ballrooms of Imperial Russia, let's transport ourselves to a dark, mysterious town that forever altered the landscape of television. Number 8 is the massive cultural phenomenon known as Twin Peaks, specifically focusing on its monumental third season, released in 2017 under the title The Return. Back in the early 90s, David Lynch and Mark Frost completely revolutionized the game, proving that a series could be deeply cinematic, profoundly weird, and genuinely terrifying. Then the show was abruptly canceled, leaving audiences dangling on a wild cliffhanger for 25 agonizing years. When Lynch finally returned a quarter of a century later, anyone expecting cozy retro vibes and warm cherry pie was completely dead wrong. Officially, the third season, David Lynch himself referred to the project as an 18-hour film. The script was written as one giant, continuous brick of text, and shooting was done in one massive, uninterrupted flow. As for the plot, trying to accurately summarize it is like trying to explain what a color tastes like. Formally, FBI agent Dale Cooper is desperately trying to return to the real world from the Black Lodge, but his place in reality has been usurped by his evil doppelganger. Moving to a premium cable network handed Lynch absolute creative freedom, and he wielded it with terrifying force. The visual language is entirely unique, featuring incredibly long static shots, sudden explosions of ultraviolence, and bizarre digital effects. The audience violently split into two fiercely opposing camps. Hardcore fans hailed it as an absolute masterpiece, while others were furious about the agonizingly slow pace. Honestly, their frustration is justified. This series demands immense patience and hard work. It hypnotizes rather than entertains, offering an unforgettable experience for those willing to dive in. From surreal, metaphysical battles of good and evil, we move to quiet, personal storms that rage entirely within a single person. Number 9 is Olive Kitteridge, a sublime miniseries from HBO. It's a brisk 4 episodes long, and it is the ultimate acting showcase for the magnificent Frances McDormand. She fell so deeply in love with Elizabeth Strout's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel that she personally bought the film rights, hunted down the funding herself, and served as the lead producer. The story transports us to a small, sleepy coastal town in Maine. Olive Kitteridge is a local middle school math teacher living with her incredibly kind husband, Henry, and raising their son, Christopher. The narrative spans 25 years of their deeply intertwined lives. There are absolutely no explosions or car chases here. The conflict is entirely internal. Olive is an incredibly difficult human being, abrasive, deeply cynical, undeniably rude, and strict to the point of outright cruelty. She silently suffers from deep depression, which back then was routinely brushed off as just a nasty personality. She completely stifles both her husband and son, yet in her own twisted way, she fiercely loved them both. The overarching atmosphere is one of quiet, suffocating hopelessness, where the beautifully bleak landscapes of New England serve to hide deeply fractured lives. The show asks incredibly uncomfortable questions about untreated depression, loveless marriages, and the heavy burden of sheer intelligence. Viewers constantly mention that the series is relentlessly depressing, and they're not wrong, but simultaneously it is breathtakingly honest and profoundly life-affirming, proving that even the most difficult people are worthy of compassion. McDormand's performance is absolutely astronomical, completely refusing to pander to the audience, making this psychological drama an absolute, undeniable masterwork. Finally, wrapping up our top 10 is a story that brilliantly weaves together a gripping detective plot, sweeping melodrama, and a dark tale about the lives of writers. It's a massive riddle stretched across 3 entire decades where absolutely everyone is lying. Closing out our list is The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. Marcus Goldman, a young and wildly successful author, is currently battling a severe case of writer's block. Desperate for inspiration, he visits his former mentor, the legendary literary giant Harry Quebert, who resides in an isolated house by the ocean. But inspiration strikes from the absolute last place he expected. unearthed right in Quebert's own garden are the skeletal remains of a 15-year-old girl named Nola Kelligan, who mysteriously vanished 33 years ago. Buried next to her is the original manuscript of Harry's most famous novel. Harry is immediately arrested and charged with murder. Marcus stubbornly launches his own rogue investigation to save his beloved mentor from the electric chair, but his digging reveals horrifying skeletons tumbling out of the closets of this seemingly idyllic town. Harry Quebert is portrayed by Patrick Dempsey, who has the incredibly tough job of playing his character across 3 distinct timelines: 1975, 1998, and 2008. The makeup department pulled off a highly convincing job aging the famously handsome actor. This series is a strange, captivating hybrid. It operates as a twisting murder mystery, echoing Twin Peaks, while leaning into a surprisingly sentimental, Lolita-esque melodrama about a forbidden romance. While critics blasted it for clunky dialogue and heavy cliches, absolutely everyone agrees on one thing: the series is insanely addictive. You fire up just one episode and suddenly you're watching straight until dawn. It's the absolute perfect weekend binge. Well friends, there you have it. That's our top 10 list. From the filthy streets of Gotham to the sun-soaked coasts of Italy, from pristine 1950s kitchens to chilling mystical forests, all of these distinct miniseries share one crucial element. They are powerful, singular artistic statements. They are complete stories boasting a definitive beginning and an absolute end, guaranteed to leave you with a lingering, powerful aftertaste long after the credits roll. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these you've already binged and which ones you're adding to your watch list. Let's chat about it down below. And don't forget, the absolute best way to support the channel is to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with your fellow cinema lovers. Watch great movies, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next Cinema Perspective episode. Bye for now.